Good evening, sim racing fans, and fasten your seatbelts as LSRTV comes to you live from the Homestead Miami Speedway and South Florida, getting ready to rumble as we get set for tonight's season finale for Real Sim Racing's RSR Asphalt Assault Xfinity Series. Race of eight over a 16-week stretch. Jacob Seelman, Justin Rosenau, Brian Macklin here in the Inside Sim Racing broadcast tower as we're ready to go, Justin, for 125 laps that I imagine is going to be pretty fun. We may not have ourselves a bona fide championship battle because one Jeff Ward is about to lock that up when the green flag drops tonight, but we sure as heck are going to have ourselves a fight for the victory here in South Florida.
We sure are, and instead of Jeff Ward being on the pole, like as has been the case for several weeks now in the Asphalt Assault Series, Wayne Vincent in the 13 Napa Chevrolet on the provisional pole right now with just under 5 minutes left here in the qualifying session. Jeff Ward is riding second with a 32.504, so Jeff Ward going to have to dig deep and grab him about another half a tenth to even be in the same vicinity as Wayne Vincent currently is in qualifying. And Jacob, only 19 cars in the server tonight. We needed 23 for this to be any mathematical way for any fight. But then again, like our discussion before the race, you need to have second place in points here, and Mr. Jose Gonzalez driving the number 26 meatball machine not present tonight.
No, the Puerto Rican Meatball Company Chevrolet is not entered for tonight's finale, which I find personally, Brian Macklin, very surprising. Even though he knew he didn't have a shot at the points title, Jose is extremely competitive here in RSR, and I'm very shocked to not see the 26 even on the entry list for tonight's event. You know, we know how much he fights on Monday nights, and even for some of these Wednesday shows. We saw him pick up a win earlier this season, so I was puzzled by that, to be honest.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I'm really shocked that Jose didn't show up tonight. If anything, just to go out there and try to end the season on a high note. Leaving the season like this by not finishing or not running the season finale, that's kind of I don't know, I wouldn't say disrespectful way, but just not the most exciting way to end your season. He could have come out here and at least went for the win and tried to get something out of it and show everybody that he was deserving of finishing second in the points, and now he's not even going to get that because Scott Simley's right behind him and Thomas George isn't too far behind, and they're both going to be able to pass him in points if they get a high enough finish tonight.
All right, Justin. So, obviously, we know Dwayne Vincent. We know Jeff Ward. Give me a dark horse if you've got one going into tonight's finale as far as hunting for a win. Who are you looking at as one that could sneak up and steal one?
I'm going to go with the number 70 at JD Laird. Looked really strong in the truck series at last week's race at Chicagoland in the Outlaw Truck Series finale. Jacob, I gotta say the 13 of Dwayne Vincent, though, he's certainly strong, but I gotta say my money's on the 70 at JD Laird.
Oh boy, I like that. It's going to be very interesting to see. We're coming down to the waning moments of qualifying. In just a moment, we'll send you trackside real quickly. Brian, what do you think? Who are you liking?
Well, I was actually going to go with JD Laird as well, but to kind of mix things up, I'm going to go with one of the RCO Boomtown cars. I'm going to go with Anthony DeBarro. He's had a lot of impressive battles with Jeff Ward throughout this entire season, both in the Asphalt Assault Series, but also in the Outlaw Truck Series. He's got a fast car. He was fourth fastest in practice. He's currently fourth in qualifying, and I definitely think he's going to have the speed to get up there and challenge these guys for the win. So I'm going to go with Anthony. I think he's going to be the guy that's going to get up there and win this season finale race.
There's our ideas. We'll wait and see what happens from the end of the race tonight. Right now, tonight's opening ceremonies, it's time to send you trackside here at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight
And as we finish and say that we've honored America tonight here at the Homestead Miami Speedway, we are coming down to it. And the last-ditch effort by Jeff Ward, Justin Rosenau, does not pay off. He will not get the pole here tonight. Instead, it will be that 13 machine. Dwayne Vincent does it.
Dwayne Vincent does indeed do it with a heck of a time, going a tenth and a half faster than he did in the practice session before this qualifying session, running a 32.454. Jeff Ward, a great effort in qualifying, is going to net him the outside pole and the series championship by just taking the green flag with a 32.473. The next couple of drivers completing the top 10, all in the 32.5s. It's going to be the 07 of Christopher Herlow in the third spot with a 32.526. 32.546 goes to teammate, the 46 of Anthony DeBarro, and the 70 of J.D. Laird. My pick is the dark horse for tonight's race with a 32.569. And Brian, I know that these drivers are going much faster than they did in the qualifying session. Who is really going to be your best? Who's your best driver for tonight?
Well, I'm still going to go with Anthony DeBarro. I really think that he's got a good car, and he's definitely got the short run speed, as we saw in practice and qualifying, and I think we'll see him have some pretty good long run speed if we get some long runs tonight. So I'm going to stick with Anthony DeBarro. I like his chances for tonight, and we know how strong he is and how capable he is of running against these guys at the front, so I definitely think he can get the job done.
And now it is going to be time for your Inside Sim Racing TV starting grid, and on the pole with that fast time is going to be the 13 Napa Chevrolet. Welcome back, race fans. Sorry for this little bit of technical difficulties. Quickly, your starting lineup going to be Dwayne Vincent, Jeff Ward, Christopher Herlow, Anthony DeBarro, J.D. Laird, Thomas George, William Kemp, Chad Coleman, Anthony Palumbo, Matt Lacrosse, Scott Simley, Doug Roth, Thomas Lattimore, Jimmy North, Greg Omo, Jared Como, J. Randall Watkins, Wyatt Wolf, and Chris Hone. Brian, 19 drivers in the server, several of them your Monday night competitors. It's going to be a strong field.
Yeah, it's going to be a really exciting race. A lot of competition here, and it's definitely going to be one of the best season finales we could possibly have. And we're about to go green, Justin.
And now to call the start of the race, LSRTV's own Jacob Seelman.
Thank you, Justin. iRacing Ford vs. Mustang pace car is gone, and for the final time in 2015, the RSR Asphalt Assault Xfinity Series flashes under the American Ethanol green flag. Dwayne Vincent and Jeff Ward on the jump. We're down to turn 1 and 2 and underway here in South Florida.
Big bobble by the 9 at Jeff Ward, going to get up a lot of real estate right now. The 46 at Anthony DeBarro, crossover move, trying to get clear of that 9 at Jeff Ward. He's going to go wheel to wheel with Ward down in turn number 3 and the 13 at Dwayne Vincent. Clear by several car lengths now out of number 4, but it's a gaggle of cars out of turn number 4. Lap 1 going to be second spot given to the number 9 of Jeff Ward by just 1/100th of a second over the 46 of DeBarro. Brian, we got a big battle for that second spot out of turn number 2.
Yeah, these guys still look like they're pacing as... Oh, we got a car loose up on the outside. That was J.D. Laird in the 70. He got up a little too high, and he lost a lot of momentum and is now falling like a rock as they go off into turn number 3. He's dropped back at least 5 or 6 positions now, maybe more by now, as Jeff Ward is also falling back up there. He's back to the 4th position already, and he's being challenged now by his Steel Horse teammate Thomas George. He's actually going to look low on Christopher Herlow as they go off into turn number 1. He's not going to be able to make the pass yet. They are still side by side as they work through turns 1 and 2. Thomas George looking to follow right through behind them as they come off turn 2.
On the back straightaway battle for the 3rd spot right there on your screen, the 9 of Jeff Ward, the 07 of Christopher Herlow, wheel to wheel now getting down into turn number 3. The advantage being given right now to the 9 of Jeff Ward, with that 1 of Thomas George right behind them, also creeping into this battle for P3. Jeff Ward now finally gets just about clear. He's got about a quarter panel left to go before clearing that 07 of Herlow on the outside for, on the inside for P3. R7 Hurlo now clear of Jeff Warden, going to try to make the crossover move out of turn number 2. One car very low off the pace, going to be the 87 of Anthony Palumbo. Brian, what a save by Palumbo. Looked like he got really loose out of 2.
Yeah, I was watching that when it happened, and he just did not get a good exit off the corner at all. He got really sideways, and Doug Roth was extremely lucky. He was right on the back bumper of Anthony right there when that happened, and somehow managed to stay off of him. That was a major catastrophe that was avoided because of the amazing move there by Doug Roth. He got on the binders and was able to avoid that and did an incredible job. As we got a few more cars back there at the back of the pack that are spinning. We got one that's actually just hit the inside wall. That is the number 2 car of J. Randall Watkins. Wyatt Wolf also went around on the front straightaway. We do stay green. These guys were at the very back of the pack, and they were not going to cause any kind of a caution there, so we stay green.
Green still on the speedway. Leader's going to have a little bit of trouble. The slow machine of Wyatt Wolf finally does now get clear of the track. Anthony DeBarro closing in on your leader, Dwayne Vincent. Third going to be won by the 9 of Jeff Ward, who's finally firmly supplanted himself around the 07 of Christopher Hurlo. The 1 of Thomas George now on the back deck lid of that 07 machine, trying to get around him to take that 4 spot as they get into turn number 3. Hurlo's going to take the line away from Thomas George as they work out over. It's going to be the 1 at George now looking to the inside, drag racing to the stripe. Now he's got about a quarter panel on that 07 machine as they're almost wheel to wheel now in 1.
They are wheel to wheel going through 1 and 2. Thomas George has got the position right now. It looks like he's going to be able to make the pass. Christopher Hurlo is going to say not so fast. He's staying on his outside as they work down the back straightaway. He got a good run off the corner. He stays there. Thomas George now pitches the car off into turn number 3. He tries to slide up in front of Hurlo. He can't clear him yet. He gets a little sideways as they come off turn number 4. Christopher Hurlo is going to get a big run as they come down to the start-finish line and is going to stay door to door with them as they go off into turn number 1.
Great battle for that 4 spot. Hurlo now on the high side, trying to defend his position against the 1 of Thomas George, trying to go high, wide, and handsome, trying to run the Dale Jr. kind of line. He does this several racetracks and does not quite successfully defend that position. The 1 of Thomas George now to P4 as they get into 3.
Yep, he has solidly moved up into the 4th position, and meanwhile up front it is still all Dwayne Vincent. He has led this race for the entire 9 laps now that we have worked. He has stayed out ahead of 2nd place Anthony DeBarro, who has closed that gap down to just over 0.6 of a second. It was about 0.8 of a second 2 or 3 laps ago, so he's slowly starting to work his way back up there. And another one that's starting to come back to the front after having a very shaky start. Jeff Ward has closed right up to the back bumper of Anthony DeBarro as they go off into turn number 3.
Going into turn number 3, battle developing now for what appears to be for that 6th position, the 22 of William Kemp, challenging hard on the back deck lid of the 15 of Jack Woolman, driving his machine right now on the front straightaway. Those two guys battling hard for position as Kemp now looks to the inside and gets the line taken away very aggressively by the 15 of Coleman. Coleman now gathers his car back up, and Kemp really trying to do what he can to get around that 15, Brian. I know Kemp's got to be a little frustrated there as Coleman really took that line away down at 1.
Yeah, he's going to be a little frustrated, but I think he also realizes they're only 10 laps into this race. They still have well over 100 laps to go, so they have plenty of time. And while all this was going on, Jeff Ward did pass Anthony DeBarro for the 2nd position. Anthony actually just pulled over and let him go. He did not try to fight him there. He just said, all right, you're faster than me right now. I'm going to let you go. And now he set his sights on Dwayne Vincent, and he's going after that race lead.
Jeff Ward looks like he's been shot out of a cannon after the first couple of laps, falling back to the 4th spot and battling his way back now up to 2. The gap at almost 1 second right now on the racetrack between himself, leader Dwayne Vincent, who's led all the laps thus far, 11 now in the books out of 125. Battle kind of still shaping up right behind them. It's going to be the 15 of Coleman now, trying to work on the outside of the 07 of Christopher Hurlo for that 5th spot, and Coleman now crosses over and kind of gets a little loose there, Brian. I know you said something in the pre-race possibly about these drivers having a battle, a very loose race car all night long.
Yeah, I was watching them in practice, and I actually spoke to a few of these guys, and they all were complaining about how loose this car was tonight and how they were really going to have to fight with the car the longer the run got. Normally, the cars are going to tighten up over the course of a long run, but for whatever reason tonight, they are not doing that at all. They're actually getting more loose the longer the run goes. So you're going to see these guys really have to fight with these cars throughout the course of the race. And when we get down to the end of the race, I expect we'll see a little bit of strategy from these guys by not putting as much fuel in the car to try to make the cars a little bit tighter through the corner so that they can actually get back in the gas sooner. So once they're within that fuel window where they don't have to pit for fuel the rest of the race, I expect you'll see them leave fuel out of the cars. That way they can get back to the gas a lot quicker.
They will certainly try. You got a battle heating up right around mid-pack or so. Going to be the 03 of Thomas Lattimore. And as I say that, caution now waving on the speedway. One car in trouble. It looks like it's going to be the 2 of J. Randall Watkins putting underneath the first Service Master Clean caution flag here on lap number 14 of 125 here at the South Florida Shootout in the Asphalt Assault Series.
And because the caution flag is out for the first time, we're going to do a little bit of business right here so we can bring you more green flag ahead from Homestead Miami Speedway. This is LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
On that one, guys. Could have been J. Randall.
Monza is a very historic track. It's been around since the 20s, and it's gone through several permutations since then. We're also bringing forward a number of configurations. So there's chicanes that they've installed since the track's early days. So they can use original, very high-speed configurations of the track where the cars would just blow through where the chicanes are today, or they can. So it's a pretty cool, compelling track. The unique thing about Monza is it has a road course, but it also has a high-speed oval. And that high-speed oval can be run by itself. The Grand Prix course can be run by itself. And they also can be run together in a combined circuit, which is very unique and special in motorsports. This was one of the more challenging projects that we've undertaken. It was essentially building 2 tracks in one. It took a lot of time and a lot of care was put into it, but we're really happy about the end result and we think that people have a lot of fun driving it.
Truex in the outside, contact made, 56 slides it at a 4, who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Welcome back, LSRTV, as we gear up for the first American Ethanol restart of the night from the Homestead Miami Speedway. Jacob Seelman, Justin Rosenau, Brian Mack here in the broadcast booth, and with eyes on the action tonight here in South Florida, Dwayne Vincent started from the pole, has led all 17 laps, soon to be 18 laps that we have competed so far tonight. He is ahead of newly crowned champion Jeff Ward in the 9 machine, Thomas George in the 1, Christopher Hurlow the 07 make up the rest of the top 4 as they run, and we're getting ready to roll it off once again as the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car bears for pit road, field in the hands of Dwayne Vincent and the American Ethanol. Green flag goes back in the air, and we remind you that this restart powered by American Ethanol, American made, American grown, and if it's good enough for NASCAR, it's good enough for your car. American Ethanol, and we have got battles all over the place off of turn number 2, 3 wide now. Christopher Hurlow, he restarted 4th. Justin, he's in the middle of a 3 wide sandwich in 3.
3 wide for a moment, actually 4 wide as the 15 at Chad Coleman took it around the 70 at J.D. Laird, the 14 of Scott Simley. 3 wide once again.
Trouble near the front of the field. Dwayne Vincent saves it on the bottom, but he nearly spun it out up front. The Napa number 13 almost went around. That's going to hand the lead to Jeff Ward with 19 laps in the books, but oh my, was that nearly disastrous, Brian, at the front of the pack.
Yeah, he just really lost the handling of that car off turn 4 and did an incredible job not spinning that car down into the inside wall, and now he's all the way back to at least outside of the top 10. It looks like he's going to cycle out to 12th or 13th, and wow, that's unfortunate. At least he didn't hit that wall, and he's going to have a chance to get back up there as the scoring cycles through. He is 12th position now, and he is 2.5 seconds behind, so he's got a lot of work to do to get back up front.
And Justin, that is as uncharacteristic a mistake by Dwayne Vincent as I've ever seen in one of these Xfinity-style cars. That was just, unusual, I think, is about the only word I could use to describe it, because we never see that. That's a mental mistake, basically, that you make off turn 4. It just looked like he overcorrected a little bit too much, and it got him into trouble.
It sure did. The driver of that Napa Chevrolet Camaro, Dwayne Vincent, who did collect himself a win, I do believe 2 weeks ago, Jacob. I have to say that okay, yeah, the 13 of Vincent, you know, very akin to Victory Lane in these series, and Jacob, one of the best drivers overall. I mean, he's Mr. Consistent in the Cup Series. We see it week in and week out.
See it week in and week out, Justin, and it's one of those things where if he's not leading the race, he is up front, and right now he is anything but up front. Instead, up front, we have a new battle for the lead, separated by about 4.5 car lengths. Thomas George in the number 1 Chevrolet Camaro trying to track down his teammate Jeff Ward. That's the battle for the point, and it's coming off turn 4 this time.
George starting to close in the gap on his teammate Jeff Ward, and these two drivers separating themselves from that number 70 at J.D. Laird. Caution waiting now on the speedway. Second Service Master Clean caution on lap number 24.
Jimmy North in trouble. The 84 machine gonna be the reason that second caution flag of the night comes out, and he'll immediately claim it. So that's gonna slow the pace one more time, and gonna maybe give somebody a shot at Jeff Ward now, because, well, we finally close him up enough to where maybe somebody can take a shot.
Yeah, Ward has one of the best cars on the racetrack. He's driven up in the 6th spot on the racetrack right now. And how about Chad Coleman? He's moved up the same amount of spots. He started 8th. He's up to 4th. Scott Simley started 11th. He's actually up to 6th. So he's made the biggest charge thus far tonight, Jacob.
He has made the charge indeed, but no charge right now has outdone that of the guy who currently leads this race, Jeff Ward, the Unical 76 Chevrolet, out in front. Thomas George and J.D. Laird stays out as everybody else headed for pit road here at lap 25. Hello, strategy. Hurlow stays out as well, Brian.
Yeah, Christopher Hurlow stayed with him as did the 46 of Anthony DeBarro, and Anthony really needed that because on his last pit stop, he actually slid through his box and lost a ton of positions on pit road. So now he's going to be back up to the 3rd position and can try to make up for what happened earlier on. And as the rest of these guys are down on pit road, we are waiting to see. We expect 4 tires for everybody here as they head towards their pit stalls. And Justin, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here.
Got the 1 of Thomas George into his pit stall first as the right side's going up on that machine. 2 Goodyear Eagles being put on that side of the machine. 1 car down and away with just 2 tires. That's going to be the 87 of Anthony Palumbo. Dwayne Vincent now into his pit box, completing right sides on that machine. Left side's going up on that. Leaders taking 4 tires all across, and it looks like it's going to be Jeff Ward narrowly beating out the 1 of Thomas George for the battle off of pit road.
14.2 for Thomas George, a very fast pit stop by that one crew, and Justin, that could play a factor. I mean, it's really, really close as far as the top 5 or 6. Pit road may be where this race is won or lost.
Right now, I believe having that number has.
That it will indeed. And Brian, we're going to see this all night. The shuffle, and it's all a game of strategy. Who can come out first? And J.D. Laird's made a power play right now with 25 laps in the book to grab the lead and maybe see what he can do with it. And we're going to find out exactly how much tires are worth, because we only had 6 green flag laps on these tires before the leaders came back down pit road. So we're going to see exactly what tires are worth, and we're going to see what track position's worth when we go back green here in about a lap and a half.
Yeah, and I don't think the tires are going to be too bad for these guys. I was just looking at the lap times and seeing what they ran at the end of that run when the caution came out, and they were still within about 1/10 of what their fastest laps were. So I don't think you're going to see J.D. Laird and Christopher Hurlow and Anthony DeBarro be in trouble here. I think they're going to be all right. It is going to be interesting to see how the car handles for the number 87 of Anthony Palumbo. He took 2 tires, and this car has already proven to be a handful. I can't imagine that taking 2 tires is going to make that any better.
It's going to be interesting to see, and we're getting ready to double it up. The flagman giving them the signal, and we should be going green next time by the stripe. So J.D. Laird out front, and Justin, I believe we thought from the drop that he was going to be one of the dark horses tonight. You still feeling it?
It's kind of a wait and see approach. That 70 of J.D. Laird, and the 07 of Hurlow, the 46 of DeBarro, all guys that have taken no tires, just staying out on 6-lap old tires. But my gut feeling is, guys, on this track surface, even 6-lap tires is going to be kind of murder. It's kind of like a Darlington effect, if you will. The track starting to get a little bit of age on it, wearing down on the tires a lot more. So 6 laps, especially at a 1.5-mile high bank track like this, could really be a death knell for somebody who's got a gaggle of cars behind them on 4 tires, with Anthony Palumbo being the only car with really any strategy. Guess as we roll into is
So now side by side, J.D. Laird, battle for
shuts the door on the board, and it's going to turn into a battle for P2 with the 4 now on the high side. Almost 3-way battle now out of turn 4 for second.
Fun that Jeff Ward got on the bottom 4. He down there, and it's stuck in a way. Ward almost had the run for second. Now he's got it as
and 4 Ward going to use that better roll through the center to try to get around that 07, and DeBarro now in the 46, almost making it 3 wide. He's literally shoving the 9 Ward down the front straightaway as they sail off towards 1.
Yeah, and while all that's going on, J.D. Laird is saying, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. He is gone by nearly 1 second from this battle for the runner-up position as they work down the back straightaway. Jeff Ward still not done with Christopher Hurlow, and here comes the battle for 4th as the 15 of Chad Coleman gets into the mix and working around Anthony DeBarro. And look at Dwayne Vincent. Where did he come from? In the 13, they're 3 wide as DeBarro gets into the fence off turn 4.
DeBarro into the fence. The one at George now on the bottom,
Caution!
working around it. Caution on the speedway. Lap 33, third Service Master clean caution play.
Again, it's Jimmy North in the 84 machine. Tough break for North for the second time tonight. And we are back yellow again. 33 laps in the record books. And we are still a long way to go in this race. Just crossed 1/4 distance of this 125 lap event. So continuing onward, we'll give you a quick look at the top 5 as they run. J.D. Laird, your race leader. Christopher Herlow rides in position number 2. Then it's Jeff Ward 3rd, Chad Coleman 4th, and Dwayne Vincent from 12th 20 laps ago all the way back to position number 5. Then it's Thomas George, Anthony Palumbo, Anthony DeBarro, Scott Zimley, and Doug Roth. The rest of your top 10. We'll be back with more in just a moment from Homestead, Miami Speedway. This is Live Sim Racing TV. Welcome back to LSRTV as we watch the action tonight from the Homestead Miami Speedway in southern Florida. Jacob Seelman, Justin Rosenau, Brian Macklin, and the Inside Sim Racing Broadcast Tower as we bring you the South Florida Shootout for the RSR Asphalt Assault Xfinity Series, the championship round tonight. Jeff Ward took the title when the green flag dropped, but J.D. Laird on pit strategy currently has the race lead. Christopher Herlow second, and then Ward the champion in third. Rest of the top 5 sees Thomas George and Dwayne Vincent, the first man off of pit road, and looking to be a factor tonight after qualifying on the pole. We have given him the double up sign and 1 to go before the green flag. And Justin, if this has told me anything so far, it's that while the lead may be established relatively quickly on one of these restarts, the action behind the lead, you can't look away because something will happen that you'll miss.
It's been pretty much non-stop thus far when the green flag's been in the air, and if there's anything that I've learned thus far, track position is everything. You can actually survive on slightly older tires in the competition behind you on one of these short runs on a restart. So late in the race, we'll have to keep our eyes on things and really see if it happens again that we get somebody who decides to stay out on slightly older tires and see if how many cars can follow them and stay along with them on the racetrack.
Wrapping up this caution presented by Service Master Clean. For all your cleaning needs, call the yellow trucks and get Service Master Clean, the official cleaning products of NASCAR. Pace car's gone, green flag back in the air, JD Laird is gone, and we are rolling towards turn 1 again. The battle's going to be for second. Christopher Herlo trying to hold off Jeff Ward. They're wheel to wheel in 1.
Ward takes it up the track a little bit, makes contact with the 07 Herlo, who's going to go all the way up to the wall and almost goes around, saves it 4 wide now on the back straightaway.
4 wide, headed for turn 3. That's not going to work. Something's got to give, and it's finally going to get sorted out, at least for a moment, but that was back around the 15 of Coleman, the 13 of Vincent, Herlo and DeBarro in the 87 and the 07 and the 46 are still trying to sort it out. They're back to 7th and 8th, while we've got a battle for the lead in turn number 2. Jeff Ward down to a car length over JD Laird. They're headed down the backstretch.
Brown by second on the racetrack right now. Gap is 1 car length going down into the corner. Ward running about a half a car width lower than the 70 of JD Laird, getting into the corner and now right in his tire tracks off of turn number 4. The gap has stabilized for the moment at just 1 car length, and Ward looks like he's going to try to close that down soon, as now it's half a car length and he's there on the bumper of Laird now as they work towards turn number 2.
Yeah, he is there, is absolutely right. The Unocal 76 Chevrolet down the back straightaway with the run. Laird going to hold him off to turn 3 this time, but how long is he going to be able to keep him back there? Because Jeff Ward's got the speed from the center off, and he is coming down to the line this time. 40 of 125 laps complete, and oh, by the way, while all this is going on, welcome back, Dwayne Vincent. He's come from 12th to 3rd after that mishap at lap 19, Brian Macklin, and that Napa Chevrolet looks like it's out for blood.
Yeah, he is fired up. His crew was super excited when he got through all that mess on the restart and jumped up into the 3rd position, and his crew chief came across the radio and said, "Go get him, Tiger." They want him back up front. They want him to win this season finale, and they are after it here as they come on. Before we a little bit of a that is inside off into turn 1.
Battle for the lead rages Ward, using him up right here to the bottom. Little goes JD, and it's not going to be enough. The Unocal 76 Chevrolet down the back straightaway and back to the point. Here at lap number 42, they're trying to be wheel-to-wheel one more time, but Jeff Ward going to clear him in 3 and reclaim that top spot. Now washes up the track a little bit. Does that allow JD a crossover? Yes. Here he comes back to the quarter panel.
Closes that in a little bit because of the draft, but he's got to start to worry about that 13 of Dwayne Vincent just behind him. Vincent lurking in the shadows and now using the advantage of those fresher tires as he now works the inside of JD Laird out of turn number 4. He's got a quarter panel on him as they work almost wheel to wheel now in 1.
The longer this run goes, the more I like Dwayne Vincent, and he washes up the track. He overdrove the corner a little bit. JD's back to the bottom. Ward's got to keep it off the safer barrier, Vincent's got to keep it off the safer barrier. But now Thomas George is getting into this fight. JD's on the bottom with older tires. Can't hold it down there.
Can't quite hold it down there, but you got to give him credit for trying to use that stuff up and try to stay up there. Vincent tried to put a dirt track-esque slide job around that 70 of JD Laird the last time by through turns number 1 and 2, and now Vincent firmly gets himself into 2nd place. Laird has to battle that hard-charging snap-on Chevrolet Camaro of Thomas George now onto the back straightaway as they sail off towards turn number 3. Laird not really giving an inch to anybody at this stage of the race, coming around this time by to put 45 laps into the books, just a little bit from halfway, probably inside of 20 laps or so. But Laird got his hands full on that number 1 machine just behind him now, getting into 1.
Here comes Dwayne Vincent, though, Brian. Fresh tires. I was getting ready to ask you, how much are they going to mean? Looks like they're going to mean quite a bit, because he was half a tenth quicker last time by without really having to do a whole lot. And I have a feeling we're going to see this 4-car length gap get eaten up pretty quickly as the Napa Chevrolet comes calling. And I'm telling you, Dwayne Vincent looks like he is on set to kill mode tonight. He is just flying from the back, the front, gets shuffled, and now back to the front.
Yeah, he's not only been on fire just tonight, but he's been on fire a lot in the last few weeks. It seems like he has just been completely different since he got that win in the charity race a couple weeks ago, and he has just been a completely different driver. He's been much more aggressive. He's went after it a lot more. He's had a lot more competitive finishes, and I definitely think now that he's got that rhythm and he's got that win, he's certainly going to get up there and win a lot more races. It's only a matter of time before he gets that win in the Full Throttle Cup Series, and right now, his sights are set on Jeff Ward. He is slowly catching him, and it's only going to be a few more laps before he's there, and he's going to take that lead back.
Yeah, Justin, Dwayne Vincent couldn't get his nose up or get any luck for 6 straight weeks in the Asphalt Assault Series. Got the win 2 weeks ago in round 7, and he'd like to close out the season on back-to-back wins. Looks like he's got the car to do it, too. It's down to 3.5 car lengths in turn number 3, and Dwayne, coming calling, cuts it a little more in turn 4, back to the line, 48 laps in the books, the gap, a third of a second.
2 car lengths is the gap officially as they cross the start and finish stripe right now. Vincent kind of running a slightly different line than the 9 award is Vincent entering a little higher, exiting a little lower, and that's allowing him to rotate the car a little bit better than the 9 of Jeff Ward right now, who's still out front. Gap going to be 1.5 car lengths now as they get into turn number 3. Vincent running about a half car width lower, as you see there on your screen, working out of turn number 4. Gap 1.5 car lengths is, Vincent almost gets in the wall out of 4.
He had to whoa up right there to keep from getting it in the safer barrier, but he's still closing on your race leader, Jeff Ward, Thomas George, J.D. Laird, Chad Coleman. The rest of the top 5 as we work 50 of 125 laps from Homestead Miami Speedway. This is LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. Welcome back to LSR TV under the third Service Master cleaning caution of the night here at lap 54. Problem off turn 2 for the 07 of Christopher Hurlow. Loses it, goes for a ride, damage Brian Macklin to the rear end of the machine, and tough night for Boomtown continuing. They are really struggling to get the handle here at Homestead, Miami.
Yeah, they got something wrong on their chassis tonight that it just does not agree with this Homestead Miami Speedway. It's a very unique surface from any other track that we go to, so it certainly presents a different kind of challenge for these guys. Now the leaders are on their way to pit road here. They had a long green flag run. They are ready for 4 fresh tires and fuel. Jeff Ward's going to lead the charge down the pit road with Dwayne Vincent, Thomas George, Chad Coleman, and JD Laird right behind them as they work towards their pit stalls.
The 9 of Jeff Ward in that Unical 76 Chevrolet makes his way into the pit box along with that 13 of Dwayne Vincent. Those two drivers have been very stout here in the early going here, just about 10 laps or so from the halfway mark here at this race. And the 9 of Jeff Ward with a little bit of an advantage in his pit stop, a little bit faster. He's going to beat everybody off of pit road, and it's anybody's guess who got second off of pit road.
Yeah, how about the mad scramble there, and we'll wait for official word as far as the race off. Dwayne Vincent gets the nod in the 13 machine, so that'll shuffle the front row up just a little bit. And you know, this is a really good chance for everybody to reset. We finally had a bit of a long green flag run here, gentlemen, and Justin, this lets you, now you've seen what you've got just a little bit, and now you can really start to strategize and see what you can do for later in the race, maybe what'll work on strategy, what won't work, what you want to do, and even where you want to be on the last restart. So, you know, as much as this is about the race car, it's also a lot about the mental game, especially here at a track like Homestead, Miami, where these restarts are so critical.
It sure is. You know, the guy that I'm really looking at, my pick for tonight as far as the dark horse goes, that number 70 at JD Laird, he really showed you could get it done as long as you had laps or less laps on your tires as far as you know, where you're at in accordance to the green flag run. Laird just had 6 lap older tires, and yet he was able to hold off the 9 award for several laps and a couple of restarts, so that probably benefited him a little bit. Track position certainly is key, but you can get it done on older tires, and that's what Laird showed us tonight.
All right, Brian, so as we close in on halfway, if you're on the pit box, what are you telling your driver as we go forward for the rest of tonight's race?
Well, they have to come to pit road for at least one more pit stop. If it were to stay green from here to the end of the race, they cannot make it on fuel. But when they get inside about 45 laps to go, that's where I believe they can make it to the end on fuel. And then at that point, I think you're going to be telling your driver, all right, we're going to leave some fuel out of this car. That way you can get back to the gas sooner. We have seen throughout the entire race, these guys have really struggled to get back in the gas coming out of the corner. They've been very loose. If you leave the fuel out of that car, it makes the car a little bit tighter. They can get back in the gas a lot sooner. You'll see the lap times pick up. You'll probably see them run a tenth or two quicker than what we've seen them run all night long, and it's going to make the racing that much better, because then these guys are going to be able to race side by side and actually be able to have some pretty good battles. As the lights are off on the iRacing Ford First Mustang, we're going to go back green when they get back around here.
1 to go here. The field now stacking up. Double file Jeff Ward to the point after that round of pit stops for that last caution flag for the 07 of Christopher Hurlow. 13 of Dwayne Vincent going to be on his outside, and the 1 of Thomas George in that snap-on Chevrolet Camaro going to be right behind them in third. And in the 4th spot there, outside of the second row on the restart, going to be the 15 of Chad Coleman. JD Laird finally comes down and gets fresh tires put on that machine. He'll restart 5th, and the rest of your top 10 looks like it's going to be the 43 of Doug Roth, the 46 of Anthony Navarro, 21 of Matt Lacrosse, the 03 of Thomas Lattimore, and the 87 of Anthony Palumbo, now completing the top 10 in the field, getting ready to go back green for another American Ethanol restart.
Coming down to halfway and about 5 laps from the restart, a pair of Camaros on the front row in the hands of Jeff Ward, Dwayne Vincent. Pace car's gone. American Ethanol green flag waves again, and Dwayne Vincent did not get a good restart. That's going to allow him to fall into the hands of Thomas George, and That 13's actually going to fall prey to Thomas as they work through turns 1 and 2. The snap-on Chevrolet Camaro to the runner-up spot. Gets loose off turn 2. Has to save it. Does George. Nearly gets into the wall and Vincent back around.
03 and the 21 are around. That's going to be Matt Lacrosse and Thomas Lattimore. Battle for the second spot. JD Laird's going to pull a dive bomb and a slide job out of turn number 4. Almost 3 wide to the stripe. Now we go 3 wide as they drag race towards turn number 1. George going to have to back out of it. It's still Laird and Vincent battling for P2 in turn number 2.
An update from the back. Heavy damage for the 03 Harley-Davidson machine of Thomas Lattimore, who basically got tagged when Matt Lacrosse lost it in turn 2, exactly the same way that Christopher Hurlow did. And heavy smoke out of the 03 of the Thomas Lattimore machine. He was running 9th at the time, and unfortunately they were down to the apron so quickly. No caution flag. We remain green, and the battle's still raging for that runner-up spot in turn 1 between the 13 of Dwayne Vincent and the 70 of JD Laird. They're wheel to wheel.
Laird, big hospital wiggle out of that number 70 Camaro out of turn number 2. Had to gather that machine back up. That's going to allow Dwayne Vincent to actually clear the number 70. And the one of Thomas George now working on the outside are the number 70 of Laird and George, trying to go high, wide, and handsome, rim riding around the joint to try to get that run around Laird. And Laird, to his credit, not giving up just yet. It's still Laird and P3 as they sail off in a 1.
Yeah, it is. And this battle has been raging for the last couple of laps, and we finally see it give way, and Vincent taking sole possession of that number 2 spot. Laird and George fighting for 3rd. This has been as good as the racing has been all night, despite the fact that Jeff Ward has pretty much left the property, and we've got trouble. Off turn 4, JD Laird around, and we've got chaos breaking out as the 70 machine just lost it off turn 4, somehow manages to save that race car, but that Camaro falling way back. We'll get a replay in a moment, but near disaster for that 70 machine, Justin.
Yeah, that race car speaking very angry and colorful language to the driver of that number 70 Anderson Surfboard Chevrolet Camaro. JD Laird, and Laird got his hands full. I can see him working and sawing at that wheel of that race car as he crosses the stripe right now, trying to gain position right now on the 87 of Palumbo, and we just passed halfway, Jacob. 63 in the books, 62 to go.
And as we cross halfway, 63 laps in the record books, we are going to take you to a midway race break here at the Homestead Miami Speedway as we'll go through our Ford full field rundown powered by the Blue Ovals. Drive 1, Jeff Ward, the Unical 76 Chevrolet Camaro, out in front by 0.6 of a second over the 13 of Dwayne Vincent, and a new man in 3rd, the 15 of Chad Coleman. Thomas George rides in the 4th spot, and 5th is the 43 of Doug Roth, our biggest mover of the night after starting 12th. Scott Simley rides in 6th after damage from the most recent caution with Christopher Hurlow. JD Laird in 7th after that scary skid a couple of laps ago. Anthony Palumbo rides in the 8th spot. Greg Omo 9th, rounding out the top 10. Nice rebound for the 41 of Jared Como.
11th going to go to the 46 of Anthony DeBarro in the last car on the lead lap. In 12th going to be the 21 of Matt Lacrosse. The 03 of Thomas Lattimore, he's seen just get heavy damages now, 3 laps down in 13th. 14th going to go to the 56 of Wyatt Wolf, who's 5 laps down after a very early racing incident in this race, the South Florida Shootout. 15th going to the 07 of Christopher Hurlow, 11 laps down. The 22 of William Kemp is 15 laps down. Out of the race is the 84 of Jimmy North after 2 cautions, and the 2 of J. Randall Rotkins going to round out your field in 18th.
That's a look at your Ford full field rundown with now 66 laps complete. Ford, the official vehicle of NASCAR. And, hey, look at this. We might have a battle for the lead in a couple laps. Dwayne Vincent rolling and trying to get to the back bumper of Jeff Ward. It is half a second as they ride. We're going to do a little bit of business here at Homestead, Miami, and when we come back, we'll see what this battle for the lead looks like as Dwayne Vincent trying to close down, but it's Jeff Ward, your race leader, and we'll actually stay with this for a couple more laps as The battle raging in turn number 2, and Vincent, he's about a half-tenth Justin Rosenau quicker every single lap. Closing on the Unical Chevrolet.
We got a war going on for the third spot, the 1 of Thomas George, trading paint very severely with the 15 of Chad Coleman. Both drivers taking each other up the racetrack here in the middle stages of the race, and George now gets back around him. Crossover move very aggressively by the 15 of Chad Coleman. These two waging war like they're on a short track, rubbing paint, trading paint on each other's doors. They're giving each other donuts, and at this rate, it's probably going to end in another caution as the 15 of Coleman pulls the slide job. Now crossover move by the 1 on the back straightaway.
Yeah, what an incredible battle this has been. As now J.D. Laird works to the inside of the 43 of Doug Roth, right behind these guys. These guys look like they're pacing right now. They have been side by side for several laps now. As J.D. Laird gets another big wiggle off turn 4, he saves it, and he's going to lose a lot of momentum. That's going to let Doug Roth go back by him on the outside. Thomas George clears Chad Coleman in front of him, and now they're side by side. J.D. Laird and Doug Roth. There's contact through 1 and 2. Doug Roth is going up the track as they come off turn 2.
One car into the wall out of turn number 2. Chad Coleman going to assume the third position. Now the 70 of J.D. Laird going to try to get back in on that battle. These 3 drivers have been trading paint, getting loose, going every which way but straight right now. 3 wide almost on the front straightaway. 3-way battle for third as these guys now drag racing towards 1.
They can't decide whether they want to be 3 wide or not right now. Everybody's trying. Nobody's making something happen. Now Thomas George will make something happen and go to the podium before he wiggles off of turn number 2. Everybody hanging on to it. The tires are screaming. Nobody's happy, and we'll continue to follow this battle in just a moment. We're going to do this business and be back from South Florida right after this from Homestead, Miami Speedway. This is LSR TV, the voice of sim racing. Welcome back to LSRTV. If you only knew what happened when we were side by side, but you know, that's the one thing that we can't offer you, but we will welcome you back to the Homestead Miami Speedway. Jacob Seelman, Brian Macklin, Justin Rosenau here in the LSRTV broadcast tower, and 45 laps to go this time by, and the battle for third has been unbelievable over about the last 20 laps. Thomas George, Chad Coleman, and J.D. Laird, despite the fact that they're 5.4 seconds behind the race leaders, they just will not give this fight up. George has it. Coleman and Laird want it. They're down the back straightaway. They're sideways. They're nearly hitting the fence, and they're still battling side by side, lap after lap for position. They've settled it out for now, but they're off turn 4, and Coleman's looking. It's about to heat up again. They're back to the line.
Unbelievable. This is dirt tracking on a pavement track at its best. These drivers saving these cars every time out of turn number 2 and turn number 4. Doesn't matter which end you're coming out on, a which straightaway. These guys are sawing at the wheels. These Goodyear Eagles are screaming bloody murder at this rate, and these guys fixing to take it 3 wide once again now, going into turn number 3. Ward's got about a car length gap separating him and the 15 of Coleman, and it's less than that between the 15 of Coleman and the 70 of Laird, who's trying to get an advantage, trying to go around the outside of Coleman. These guys, once they get to each other, they start goosing on them tires a little bit, and man, it's really a display of talent here, but these guys starting to fall further and further in arrears to Jeff Ward, who's starting to pull away now from the 13 of Dwayne Vincent.
Yeah, Jeff's finally stretched out to about a full second over Dwayne in that 13 machine, so we'll continue to monitor the gap for the lead, but right now, this battle from 3rd through 5th is absolutely the best on the racetrack as we roll, and they tighten it up one more time. 1:15.70 back to the line. Coleman's peeking inside about every chance he gets, but they run lockstep to turn 2.
These drivers probably not very happy. Whoa, the 15 just got about hospital wiggled bad loose out of 2. That's going to give the advantage to the 70 Laird, who's now going to draft up to the back of that number 1 as they get down into turn number 3. And credit to Coleman with another great save. And one car in the wall out of third.
JD's in the wall.
Laird in the safer barrier.
Yeah, he is. That Anderson surfboard number 70 machine got in the fence. It didn't look like it did much of any damage, but it murdered his momentum off the exit of turn number 4. And Brian, we're looking at the replay now, and you just get up in those marbles, and there's nothing you can do. As you know, we've said many times here, it just kind of sucks you into the wall.
Yeah, and it was really interesting to watch that happen. He entered that corner, and it just looked like the entire corner was bad for him, and then he just got closer and closer to that wall until he actually ended up hitting it. But he did a good job slowing the car down and not hitting the wall as hard as he could have. If he'd stayed in it and kept his momentum up, he would have knocked that wall clear to Daytona. So it's a good thing that he backed it up, and now he's fallen way behind these guys as he's fallen back about a second off of Chad Coleman and Thomas George. And so he did a good job, and these guys are probably less than 15 to 20 laps away from having to come to pit road for fuel, so I'm sure they're also looking forward to getting 4 fresh tires on these cars.
Yeah, I'm very interested by all this, and you know, meanwhile, back at the ranch, about a lap ago, Dwayne Vincent was 2.5 tenths quicker than Jeff Ward, Justin. There's something we can talk about. I mean, the 9 and the 13 are head and shoulders above everybody, but the question is, which of the two is actually better?
Well, that's going to be answered here in a little bit. Jeff Ward onto the safety road right now, coming around to make his final service of the night here on lap number 87. Jeff Ward to pit road. Dwayne Vincent to the point out of turn number 4. A short pit strategy for the 9 of Jeff Ward is now he's bringing that Unical 76 Chevrolet to the attention of his pit crew.
Ward headed down for what we assume will be his final pit stop here tonight, and he slots it right into the pit stall on the money. Right side's going up on that number 9 machine as we wait to see exactly what they're going to do. It looks like going to be 4 tires and 2 cans of virtual Sunoco racing fuel. Ward down and away, a lightning quick pit stop, and smooth as silk for Jeff Ward as he'll pull back onto the access road and back onto the racetrack here at lap number 88. The leader coming around to complete 89 this time by.
The 9 of Jeff Ward going to go a lap down, and he's got to hope that a caution does not come out on the racetrack, because that would trap him a lap down. Yeah, he would get the free pass, but he wouldn't be able to pit and take those fresh tires, and that would just be a strategy killer, especially as the race wears on. And the 13 Dwayne Vincent gonna have to see if he comes down to pit road. His lap time's now down into the 33.4s, and folks, we were qualifying 1 second a lap faster than that, and these drivers driving these cars hard and lap in and lap out. You have to wonder just how much more time can these guys give up.
If this goes green, it's Jeff Ward's race right here, and we just saw the 14 of Scott Simley, 91 Greg Omo, 43 Doug Roth, all down on pit road for their stops. But if this race does not have a caution before Dwayne, Chad, JD, these guys have to make their pit stops, it's game over. Nobody is going to stop Jeff Ward with the gap he is going to build on these fresh tires. I mean, it's going to be unbelievable the amount of time these guys who are staying out are going to lose as Ward starts to catch back up to him. And you'll see it. The minute he gets back and unlaps himself, Ryan, is going to be the moment when we look at each other and go, all right, absolutely game over right here, because he's going to set an unbelievable pace on fresh tires right now. And Dwayne has to be hoping for a caution. There is no way, if this stays green, that he's really going to have a realistic shot to win this race.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of that maybe Dwayne is considering here, and I'm sure he's running it by his crew chief, would be a 2-tire stop to try to make up the time that he's losing, because that's the only chance he's going to have. He's giving up, as you and Justin both said, over a second a lap on the guys that have already pitted, so he can't afford to come down and take 4 fresh tires. They're not going to have enough laps left, and even if he is quicker than them after he comes to pit road, he's just not going to have enough time. He's giving up 3/4 of a second to a second a lap, so he is just losing a lot of time. So I'm sure that's probably something they are considering is going to be a 2-tire stop. They're going to be well within their window for fuel, so they can do that, and that's really going to be his only chance here.
So we'll keep watching the strategy, Justin, but right now, let's go through the field, at least with the top 5, starting with your leader, Dwayne Vincent, in the Napa Chevrolet, the 13 machine, looking for back-to-back wins, and we keep waiting. I mean, we've been waiting for the win on Monday nights, but he picked up a win on Wednesday nights, and now continues to roll out in front of this field, hoping for a strategy call to win this race. And Justin, behind him, a guy who we've been watching all night and hanging on right now in second, the 46 of Anthony DeBarro. Nice comeback for that team.
Nice comeback, but he's got a long way to go if he wants to put himself onto the podium tonight. He's still got to make his final round of service. I do believe we hear, as far as the strategy call goes, how about that 70 of JD Laird? 2 tires on that machine, and he's probably going to recycle around somewhere in the neighborhood of just a couple seconds behind the 9 of Jeff Ward, who now cycles up to the 5th spot, still a lap down the leader, Dwayne Vincent.
Third right now going to be the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, who we saw involved in a melee earlier with the 03 of Thomas Lattimore, but Lacrosse getting away with far less damage to his quick car racing parts machine and running about 15 seconds off the race leader right now. And behind him in 4th, another of the RCO Boomtown Sim teams, Brian. This guy has been quietly solid tonight, and the only one of that team that's not had some sort of a problem, Jared Como in 4th.
Yeah, he has just not had the speed that he was looking for tonight. Obviously, he was really slow in practice. He was only 14th fastest in practice and qualified 16th, so they did not have the speed that he needed to have to go up there and challenge these guys. But he is now just trying to catch a lucky break here. He would be the last car in the lead lap in 4th and would have the opportunity to come down and get 4 fresh tires should a caution come out, and he'd be able to keep that 4th position. So he's certainly just looking for something to try to finish this season off on a high note, and who knows what can happen here as Jeff Ward is almost back on the lead lap. He is about 2 seconds behind Dwayne Vincent right now, and when he passes him, he'll get his lap back, and then we'll have to wait for these guys to come to pit road and see how this all shakes out. It's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, it is, and Ward rounding out the top 5, Justin, and how many words can we use to describe him? Amazing, incredible, let's see, race winner this season, champion when the green flag dropped tonight, hottest driver in real sim racing, as you've called him over the last 2 months. And that machine, no matter what sponsorship, what number it's had on it, what series it's been in, it's been fast, and he's about to prove it when he blows by the race leader, and he will do it as Dwayne Vincent heads for the pit lane.
Dwayne Vincent heading down into the pit lane. He's actually on the grass. Trouble for the 13 as he's slow on the racetrack. Still green on the racetrack as it stands right now. Big penalty for the number 13.
And Dwayne hangs on. He's going to make it to pit road, but that was disastrous and likely will take him out of contention to win this race tonight. The lead at lap number 98 going to cycle to Anthony DeBarro in the 46 as Vincent hits his pit stall for final service.
Right side's going to go up on that Napa Chevrolet Camaro of Dwayne Vincent. Get a can of Sunoco race fuel in it just to get him to the end. Is it going to be 2? No, the left side's going up on that machine, and actually, no, just 2 tires, serving a big penalty on that Napa Chevrolet team. So trouble finding that 13 even again on pit road.
Yeah, that was a very unfortunate set of circumstances for him. That was a 24-second stop, so he's not only going to give up a lot of time because of staying out there on old tires, but now he's given up even more time with that penalty. So this certainly has taken him out of contention for the win, and this has handed the lead over for the time being to RCO Boomtown driver Anthony DeBarro. He's still out there hoping for a caution to close this thing up and give him a shot. Unfortunately for him now, and as you're going to see a replay of Dwayne Vincent coming out or trying to come to pit road and loses a little bit of the handling on that car and goes off into the grass and then back up onto the racing surface. And as we go back to Anthony DeBarro, he's out here hoping for a caution so that he can hold on to this lead and bring everybody down for 4 fresh tires. That's his only chance right now because Jeff Ward's only a little bit over 20 seconds behind him on the racetrack. So even when Anthony comes to pit road, if he were to just take gas or even 2 tires, he's going to give up more than 20 seconds on the track, and he's certainly not going to come back out with the lead.
So we'll continue to wait for the final cycle to complete itself, but it looks like as it rides right now that this easily is going to be in the hands of Jeff Ward when everything all cycles out. We are now 101 laps into this race. Anthony DeBarro, your race leader, Matt Lacrosse, Jared Como, the other 2 drivers who have yet to make their pit stops. DeBarro trying to push it as long as he can. Oh boy, and he's only 18.9 back of your race leader right now. How long do you push it if you're gonna come? I mean, if a caution were to come out now, Justin, have Ward, JD, some of these guys who pitted back about 16, 17 laps ago now, would they stay out or would they come in for tires late in the race thinking that if they didn't, it might make a difference, especially with only 7 cars on the lead lap?
I'm not going to stay out on 16-lap tires, and that's just my opinion as a driver in this sim as well. So on a big track like this, 16 laps is like 50 laps at a short track. I mean, it's just, there's no question about it. If you have the opportunity to come down and put a set of tires on it and have the drivers that you just had pit behind you out on older tires, well, that gives you the advantage to be equal or even better than them on a short run to the checkers. So the 9 of Jeff Ward eating up real estate by the mile. 2 seconds that time, the difference between him and Anthony DeBarro as far as lap times go. So he's down to 16.9 seconds back of DeBarro, and that gap getting ever so smaller with each waning lap as we're coming around this time by to put lap 104 in the books.
And none of these 3 can make it, Brian, correct? There's no way that any of these 3 could even hope to try and stretch the fuel to make it.
Absolutely not. They were about 15 laps outside of being able to make it to the end on fuel. You'll probably see these guys on pit road no later than lap 110. I can't see them being able to go any further than that unless they've been saving. But even then, there's no point to save because you know you're not going to make up 15 laps of fuel. So there's no point to go out there and try to save fuel. So yeah, these guys, they're going to have to come to pit road very soon. They're out here gambling, and it's the season finale. Nobody was going to take the championship away from Jeff Ward, so why not? Take a shot, go for it, gamble, and if it doesn't pay off, then you really didn't lose anything. You just went out there and you did what you had to do to try to take a shot at the win. Obviously, once again tonight, Jeff Ward had the car to beat, so you had to try to do something different in order to beat him, and I applaud these guys for taking this chance, and there's still time for something to happen to give them that lucky break they need to get that caution and keep them out front ahead of Jeff Ward in the closing stages.
And that is a point right there. If we get a late race caution, it would send everybody back down pit road. So we're not done yet. As of now, though, we've got 19 laps to go, and we are going to do 60 final seconds of business here on LSRTV. And when we come back, we'll bring you all the way to the checkered flag here at Homestead Miami Speedway. You're watching LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Welcome back to LSRTV. The 41 of Jared Como gives up the ghost here on lap number 110. We wait for Anthony DeBarro now as Jeff Ward, soon to be your race leader, is less than 10 seconds back as he cycles through, riding in the 4th spot. It's make that the 3rd spot as Como to pit road. Again, 110 down, 15 to go. It's 8.4 seconds. For the 9 of Jeff Ward, we don't think that any of the top 2, either DeBarro or Matt Lacrosse, can make it to the end on fuel. But boy, DeBarro is stretching it as long as he can. Como's in. DeBarro brings him down to 14 laps to go. That battle is headed back to 1.
And as DeBarro tries to save every last ounce of fuel in that 46 machine, the Race Chaser Online Speed 77 Radio Performance Motorsports Network Chevrolet Camaro, Ward is definitely going to get him. He's going to get him with about 5 or so laps to go, give or take, maybe closer to 6 to go, is when Ward will reach the 46 of DeBarro if he has no issues getting around the 21 of Lacrosse. So the 9 of Ward, provisionally possibly going to be your winner. Never say never. But it's definitely, you have to look at it as a shot at getting DeBarro onto the podium if he can magically stretch to the end.
Anthony DeBarro is trying to save you. He knows he can't hold off Ward for the win, but Justin, even if he could salvage a runner-up spot, after the night that Boomtown Sim has had all the way around, you would take it, wouldn't you? Being a driver, especially one in DeBarro's position, why not?
If you could finish second to Ward, that's a win in my book on any given day. Ward, a hot shoe, a great talent, been on display for several months now in all of the Real Sim Racing series. DeBarro, the up-and-comer, the new kid on the block, if you will. I would take a second, especially to Jeff Ward, because, let's face it, the guy's just been on fire and dang near unbeatable week in and week out.
This time by, it will be 10 laps to go. We'll have 115 go in the record book. Sorry, next time by the stripe, it'll be 10 laps to go. 11 to go right now. Matt Lacrosse is closing for the lead, but faster closing is Jeff Ward. Cuts another second out of it. He is only 3.3 back for the top spot here at lap 115.
DeBarro trying to save every last drop of fuel, running 34.5 as far as his laps go, and Ward is really closing the gap. And now they're in my screen, all on the same screen. I have 3 screens, so that just tells you just how much that 9 of Ward is really closing in. It's going to be a battle for the lead once we get into turn number 1. The 21 of Matt Lacrosse still out of the racetrack, still yet to fit. He's probably trying to stretch it too. He's closing in on that 46 DeBarro as they work into turns number 1 and 2 this time and around. DeBarro going to have to pin in this time. It's not going to work for the driver, that number 46.
Yeah, he's going to be about 9 laps shy of being able to make it. So Anthony DeBarro and Matt Lacrosse duck into the access lane, and that will seal the deal right here as Jeff Ward, coming to 9 laps to go, will cycle to the point in an effort to close out a championship season with a victory. 9 to go. Ward out front. It's going to be by about 10 seconds over the 70 of J.D. Laird, who goes, I thought was going to go to second. Instead, Chad Coleman has just gotten around J.D. about a lap or so ago to go to that runner-up position. So now Coleman's second, and J.D.'s going to cycle through to third.
Credit to Chad Coleman finally getting around the 70 of J.D. Laird. Now, those two have been waging war, along with the 1 of Thomas George. He's lurking. I mean, Jeff Ward, let's face it, he's in another dimension. Not even zip code. He's just in another dimension. He's that far out in front of these guys. 33-second laps here. He's got a third of a track lead over second place Chad Coleman. J.D. Laird cycles around to the third spot. Thomas George cycles to fourth, and I believe it's going to be Anthony Palumbo rounding out your top 5. 21 seconds back is Lacrosse in the wall in 3.
Matt Lacrosse tags the fence, hangs on to it. We remain green, and Jeff Ward remains out in front. And what this is going to do by the end of it tonight is going to cement just what an incredible season this has been for Jeff Ward, who is, I believe, not only going to lock up the Asphalt Assault Series championship, but we've had a combined championship going on for some really cool prizes that RSR is handing out, Justin, and I believe Jeff Ward easily going to lock up that title as well, between 5 Outlaw Truck victories, 2 or 3 Asphalt Assault victories. I mean, he's been unbelievable in these 16 Wednesday night races, won just about half of them.
And that just really goes to show volumes of just how good he really is, because he's a contender week in and week out on the Monday Night Series. And, you know, he's had a little bit less luck in the Monday Night Series and just involved in some accidents at the wrong place at the wrong time. But this is Jeff Ward at his best. When he has an opportunity presented to him to go out and win a race, he's going to do everything he can. And this guy goes flat out like no other driver I've ever seen or ever talked to in any of the real sim racing series, and it's just absolutely amazing the dominance that he's putting on display for us here tonight.
Coming down to it again, we said we were inside of 10 laps remaining. Now it is just going to be inside of 5 laps remaining. When they come back to the line, 4 to go. Ward still advantage 10 seconds as we close in on the checkered flag and close in on crowning a champion in victory lane. Ward flashes by the stripe, 6 miles to go in South Florida.
Smooth sailing for the 9 of Jeff Ward. He's just cruising at this point. The gap slowly shrinking. It's been about 10.6 or so for the last couple of laps, and now it's down to 10.1. But Chad Coleman's going to run out of laps as we're inside the safety zone. If a caution flag comes out right now, Jeff Ward going to go to victory lane in that number 9. So it's really Jeff Ward's race to lose. If he makes a critical mistake, yeah, then Chad Coleman would have a fair shot at it. But let's not count out anybody else in the field. Going to have a little bit of a battle shaping up here in the next couple laps. If Greg Omo can catch the 14 of Scott Simley for the 6th spot, he almost been running down about a quarter of a second a lap. He may get him here just before the checkered flag.
We'll see if we can follow up on problems for Dwayne Vincent. The Napa Chevrolet is back on the pit lane, going to fall to 11th and fall to 12th now. So sounds like a problem off of turn number 4. Going to be the demise for the number 13. So Vincent completely out of contention. Double popsicle sticks in the air, though, for Dwayne Vincent. 2 laps to go and a 9.9 second lead.
2 laps to victory and 2 laps to closing out the championship here in the Asphalt Assault Series from the Miami Homestead Speedway. And Jeff Ward, I cannot speak enough of this dominance. The gap down to 9.6 seconds, and Jeff Ward, all he has to do is put together one more perfect lap. White flag now in the air for that driver of the Unical 76 Chevrolet. Can he win and close out the championship in style?
He's looking to close it out very easily. Chad Bowman and J.D. Laird not even in the same zip code. Ward halfway to Daytona as he works through and getting ready to close it all out down the back straightaway. The stat line is going to read like this: 4 poles in 8 races and 3 victories en route to a championship season as the Unical 76 Chevrolet Camaro works out of turn number 4 for the final time. Congratulations, Jeff Ward. He takes the win and the championship here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. 3rd Asphalt Assault Xfinity Series victory of 2015 as Jeff Ward claims the South Florida Shootout. Chad Coleman in 2nd, J.D. Laird 3rd, Thomas George, Anthony Palumbo round out your top 5 in a race that took just over an hour and 21 minutes to officially complete. And how much can you say about this Unical sponsored machine? Jeff Ward, Justin Rosenau, does it again, and boy, what a way to close out the championship.
He puts on a clinic, and now the driver from Fairdale, Kentucky, your champion in the 2015 Asphalt Assault Series presented by Inside Sim Racing TV, going to get ready to burn it down on the front straightaway. And Jeff Ward, I'm sure he's got to be about pumped, throwing his fist outside the window, just like a madman right now as he's getting congratulations from his teammate Thomas George on the front straightaway. Go ahead, Jeff Ward. You burn it down, brother. You've earned it here for your combined Wednesday night championship and your championship here in the Asphalt Assault Series.
Jeff Ward, your winner, your champion. We'll hear from him and the rest of our podium when we come back for the LSRTV post-race show. From Homestead Miami Speedway, you're watching Live Sim Racing TV.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Welcome back to LSRTV as we get ready to head down trackside for the final time on a Wednesday night this season. Jacob Seelman, Justin Rosenau, Brian Macklin, been with you here for the Asphalt Assault Xfinity Series and getting ready to wrap it all up tonight. Jeff Ward, your winner and your champion. We'll hear from him coming up shortly, but Justin Rosenau, some of the comments from he and Chad Coleman, a couple of the guys who we were watching and short pitted trying to make it, they nearly didn't.
Yeah, what was it? Chad Coleman said he had 1/100th of a gallon left. I mean, that's absolute insanity. Any earlier in none of the drivers, even Jeff Ward himself had under a gallon left. So any earlier in those drivers not going to make it to the end. So that really has to speak to the volumes about what Anthony Barrow tried to do, going from mid-50s all the way to almost the end, about 9 laps to go. So the better part of 60 laps or better on that machine to get to the end, and Jeff Ward driving from lap 87 to the checkers on just one tank of fuel. So DeBarro stretching almost 20 laps out of that tank of fuel.
He stretches almost 20 laps, and what a night it's been as we get ready to close it out in style and end what's been a really fun, honestly, Asphalt Assault Xfinity Series season. I've enjoyed it. I think everybody else has enjoyed it, and we'll close it out as I'll head to the championship stage. But first, Brian Macklin, you're down trackside with the guy who comes up third tonight and basically admitted the whole field got beat tonight. J.D. Laird down there with you.
Yeah, I've caught up with third-place finisher, driver of the number 70 Anderson Surfboard Chevrolet Camaro, J.D. Laird. J.D., we saw you tonight all over the place all night long. You were sliding around. You had an incredible battle with the 15 of Chad Coleman and the 1 of Thomas George early on. What was it like going through this race and having a battle with the 2 of them throughout the course of the night?
It sucked at the beginning because we were having a blast, but we were letting Dwayne and Jeff just run away with it, and I'm sitting there all frustrated, like, can we just get single file here and see if we can even have a shot? But it was too much fun after a while. I'm like, it was a blast. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and we enjoyed watching it up here in the broadcast booth. Early on in the race, you decided to stay out and not take tires. If we had had a late race caution, would that have been the call you would have made again to try to steal the show from Jeff Ward, or would you have come down and gotten 4 fresh tires and tried to beat him with the fresh tires?
Tires seemed to be the way to go. I only stayed out there because I was playing a fuel game. I with less fuel, the car was a little bit more stable, so I was just trying to play the fuel game. And once I burned about 4 or 5 gallons out of the tank, that just seemed where I wanted to be. And me pitting there was pretty much going to be useless. So and track position was a big deal too. Just it was difficult. It wasn't really difficult to set it up. It was difficult to hold on to it because it was so free, let's say. And it was the best thing to do at the time. And if it came to the end of the race, I would have. It depends. My instinct says I would have taken 4 and probably ended up in the catch fence, but 4 tires, I probably would have been the call.
Yeah, and obviously tonight is the last race of the Wednesday night series. They are discontinuing the Wednesday night series after tonight. Are we going to see more of you in real sim racing? Are you going to start running on the Full Throttle Cup series, or are you going to continue to play crew chief for Pedro Mojica on Monday nights?
I don't know yet. I don't know if I'm going to be running next week at Sonoma. It's up in the air. It depends on what Pedro wants to do. If not, I'll probably still be crew chiefing that for at least half the race because I'll be running south in a different league at Fontana. So I'll probably fly up in my turbojet and be there halfway through the race like usual. But next season, I don't know yet. We'll see.
All right, and before we let you go, any sponsors you want to plug, any shout-outs you need to make?
Shout-outs to Anderson Surfboards, Aquatech Glassing, myself at JDR Graphics, King of Chins Productions, SegPay, Enlighten, Foam, Josh Sheen's Chinese Kitchen, and all the crazy sponsors that we've created over the season. And you guys for putting on the show and letting us guys that race our desk feel a little bit good about themselves that were broadcasted. RSR for putting on the league for tonight, and all the people watching. Just thanks for letting us have fun on Wednesdays.
All right, thank you, JD. That was your third place finisher, driver of the number 70, Anderson Surfboards Chevrolet Camaro, JD Laird. Now we're going to move further down pit road, where I believe Justin Rosenau has caught up with your second place finisher.
Alongside the driver, the number 15 Chevrolet, Chad Coleman. Another great finish for that driver from the Weed M Boys camp. And Chad, you had a whale of a war with your teammate JD in the one at Thomas Georgia for about 20 straight laps. You want to elaborate on your version of events there on the racetrack?
Yeah, the race we had with Thomas and with JD right there for about, I'd say about 20 or so laps was a lot of fun. It wasn't the smartest thing to do because we let Dwayne and Jeff get a huge lead on us, which we never was able to get back. And it's a lot of fun though. I don't know if Thomas was having as much fun as I was, or if he was frustrated or what. But I mean, hell, it was fun. I was enjoying it.
I noticed that were the cars necessarily tight on the inside of one another, or was it just two guys racing hard? One guy takes one guy a little bit up the banking, or and then the next corner the guy just crosses you over, comes back down, takes you up the track. Was there any little bit of that, or was it just cars getting tight and just pushing up and not having much room?
Nah, I mean we got close a couple of times in the corners, but getting into one on the bottom, there's a bump, and the car was bottoming out real hard right there, and it would shoot you up the track a little bit. Going into 3, that's why you could hold somebody down, but going into 1, you're kind of playing with fire out there because you could bottom out a couple of times, and it'd shoot you up the racetrack. But yeah, I ran Thomas hard, ran him clean. He ran me hard, ran me clean, and I enjoyed it. I enjoy racing with somebody you can run side by side with and not get wrecked.
Gotta throw a hypothetical here at you. Caution flag comes out with 10 to go. 2 tires, 4, no tires, you stay out. What's your call?
I probably got 4. I think if I could have got caught back up with Jeff and Dwayne and them, I don't know what happened to Dwayne on the pit stop there. I don't know if he sped or what happened, but if I could have got caught back up with Jeff and them right there, I think we could have put on a pretty good race. I came out of the pits about 10 seconds behind him, and I didn't really lose nothing until the last couple of laps when I realized I was short on fuel. But Jeff's good. He's really fast, and from what I understood, he won the points over here in this deal. And that don't surprise me. But yeah, I'd like to got caught back up and gave him a run right there. I think it would have been a pretty good run.
All right, Chad, congratulations on your runner-up spot here on the racetrack. Who's responsible for getting you to the track week in and week out?
I got to thank Jefferson Davis Laird at JDR Graphics for the paint scheme. And believe it or not, he actually paid for me to race tonight, too. So he's a really nice guy. And yeah, that's about it. And thanks to you guys and RSR for the race. And congrats to Jeff on the win.
And that's the driver, the number 15 Chevrolet Camaro here in the Asphalt Assault Xfinity Series on LSRTV. That's Chad Coleman. Now it's time to go down to Gatorade Victory Lane, where I'm sure this word's going to ring true. Champion Jacob Seelman, you got our champion Jeff Ward.
It took us just a minute to get everything else set up, but he's got the car parked in front of the stage, impromptu victory lane, because we figured we'd just bring the hardware with us right here on the front straightaway. We'll bring in all the dignitaries in a moment, but first, Jeff Ward, what a way to cap an incredible season, the win, the championship. Could you have asked for anything more out of this car tonight? It looked like an absolute rocket ship.
Yeah, Jacob, I don't know what to say, man. It's just unbelievable. Feels real good to not only get the championship, but to come out and win the race. You know, I'd planned on just trying to come out and ride and get a top 5, and then, you know, Jose, he didn't even show up. I guess I don't know what happened to Jose tonight. I guess he was busy, but he didn't make the race, so I figured we'd go as hard as we could and try to get the win and get the championship. But you know, yeah, what a great race. We come real close there at the end, and we had like 0.8 gallons left. there at the end from running out of gas. And when I went in and took 4 tires, and I didn't fill it all the way up because I wanted to try to get some of that looseness out of the rear there. But we cut it real close, and it's great to get the win. This is awesome feeling.
Were you nervous at all? I mean, you said it right there. You had less than a gallon of fuel. I mean, did you even realize how close you were on the fuel tank until the last couple of laps? And then, I mean, did you ever think that maybe we need to back off just a little bit just to make sure that this doesn't go haywire?
Yeah, I was kind of watching it every lap. I'd see what kind of gap I had that I could save a little bit, or what I could do there. And whenever Dwayne, I saw him drop, like Chad said, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he had trouble on the access road or sped, but when I seen him start to fall, I knew that I would have a little bit of a buffer there between second place. So if Dwayne wouldn't have had trouble, then he would have been right on top of us, and we might have ran out of gas there. Dwayne was really strong before he had trouble, and it probably would have come down the wire if that hadn't happened to him. So yeah, it was actually fell in our favor, and we got lucky there on the gas situation.
Jeff, it's your first title in real sim racing. Came so close to getting the truck title, but just nailed it here on the Xfinity side. 4 poles, 3 wins in 8 races. To have been as good as you've been, as strong consistently week in and week out. What does this championship mean to you, to this Steel Horse Racing team, knowing that all the pieces came together exactly how they needed to, and the driver was just able to execute every single night?
It feels great for me. I set out at the beginning of the season, I wanted to try to get the championship in the Xfinity. That was kind of my ultimate goal. And then I would just see what happened with Cup and trucks. But yeah, this is exactly what I was hoping to do with this series here. So it's awesome. Hopefully Steel Horse is proud of me for just now joining them, and then being able to come in and win this championship. So it's Cup's been kind of leaving a bad taste in my mouth. We're not running great over there. I've been getting in a lot of accidents, but at the end of the day, like I said, this is what we was focusing on here in Xfinity, and to be able to bring it home means the world. I hope we can carry some momentum for the Cup Series, because yeah, we're not running real great over there, but this is awesome here.
And Jeff, I know you can't do it by yourself. Before we get the dignitaries in here, sponsors, shout outs, who makes it happen for you and this 9 crew?
Everybody at Steel Horse. Jason Swan does a great job running the league. Got handed to Thomas George tonight. It seems like every race we're in, if nothing else, he helps me, on the pit calls. I'm not the greatest crew chief type of guy on pit calls, so he always helps me out, and he made another good call tonight. Getting 4 there, like at lap 87. But everybody at Steel Horse and friends and family, gotta thank Kevin Pearson for painting my cars up for me this year. I'm kind of one of them guys that likes to change cars and kind of keep it fresh and fun. So I'd like to thank you guys for broadcasting all year, and Real Sim Racing for running a great league there.
All right, that's the words from the driver's mouth. Jeff Ward, not only the winner, but the champion. And as such, to present the hardware, time to bring in our representatives from Real Sim Racing, and representing the admins tonight to present the championship hardware, Mr. Jimmy North. Jimmy?
Jacob Seelman, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, and I think Jeff Ward's probably doing pretty well, and you have a trophy to hand out to him.
You darn right we do. We'll be working on that here real shortly, get it sent to him, and yeah, congratulations, Jeff, on the championship and also on the win.
Thanks, Jimmy. Means the world, man. I'm glad to be racing with you guys.
Oh yeah, for sure. And with the latest news of the series kind of coming to an end for a little bit, but we're gonna kind of come back, rebuild, and restructure a little bit, and maybe we'll have something coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Sounds great, man.
Jimmy, I want to ask really quickly, because you got the chance to race against Jeff some in this series. I mean, he was dominant, yes, but it's a well-deserved championship. I mean, from your perspective, to see him walk away, is it satisfying for you guys at RSR knowing, that he just went out and earned it every single week?
Oh, you bet. I mean, I could see myself in his position sometime, that's if I don't spin during a race like I did tonight.
It's been a lot of fun, and that's it from down here on the championship stage. Jeff Ward gets to hoist the hardware, and Justin Rosenau, he's also at the top of tonight's Ford Full Field Rundown.
All right, I'm actually going to go ahead and do the rundown here. Jeff Ward is going to take the podium here. He's going to win the race. And the season finale here at Homestead Miami Speedway, Chad Coleman is going to finish second. J.D. Laird will finish third. Thomas George fourth. Anthony Palumbo fifth. Scott Simley sixth. And your last car on the lead lap tonight was the number 91 machine of Greg Omo. 1 lap down in the 8th position was Doug Roth. Matt Lacrosse 9th. Anthony DeBarro 10th. Jared Como 11th. Dwayne Vincent, after his troubles on pit road and then also having heavy contact with the outside wall, he's going to come home 12th. Wyatt Wolf is 13th, and the rest of the drivers did not finish the race tonight. Thomas Lattimore finished 14th, 60 laps down. Christopher Hurlow finished 15th, 72 laps down. William Kemp finished 16th, 76 laps down. Jimmy North, 17th, 93 laps down, and Jay Randall Watkins rounded out your field in 18th, 113 laps down. Jacob, back to you.
We'll get set to wrap it up tonight from the championship stage, where the celebration continues behind us here on LSRTV. And one more congratulations from all of us here going out to Jeff Ward. Wins his 3rd race of the season, claims the title in the Asphalt Assault Xfinity Series. And Justin Rosenau, really quickly, any final thoughts from you? Because like I said to Jimmy North, just a well-deserved championship, and what a run he put on. Just took it to him.
He sure did, and you have to figure, we'd be talking about double champion if he would have started that Michigan race in the Outlaw Truck Series. If he would have ran that instead of points for his teammate Dan Murray, and we'd be talking about a double series champion on Wednesday nights. And congratulations go out to Jeff Ward and the Steel Horse Racing crew. Great job by them tonight, and what a way to cap off the Wednesday night series here on LSR TV by going out and winning by going into another time dimension, if you will. Just absolutely blowing the doors off of everybody. And some of the comments that were left by fellow competitors were lighthearted and in jest, but in the end, Jeff Ward doing what he does best, and that is just going flat out when the time counts. And again, congratulations to the driver of that Unical 76 Chevrolet.
So for the final time on Wednesday nights here on LSR TV, at least for now, with the Real Sim Racing family of series, myself, Justin Rosenau, Brian Macklin, want to say a thanks to all the viewership out there that helps keep us going at LSR TV and supports the RSR family of racing series. Of course, keep it tuned to LSR TV on Monday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern for the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series. Every Monday night, again, that's at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And we'll be back on the call this coming Monday night from the road course, turning left and right at Sonoma Raceway in Southern California. That's going to be a lot of fun, headed to the wine country. But for right now on the East Coast, we say goodnight from Homestead Miami Speedway. We say congratulations to Jeff Ward, your winner and series champion. And for our executive producer, Laura Lawson, I'm saying keep it off the wall until we meet again. And we'll see you next time on the web from Homestead Miami Speedway. So long and good night.